Addiction isn't what you think it is. It's not just a habit. It's not a weakness. It's a silent scream from the depths of your mind. A desperate attempt to fill a void that words can't reach. You don't crave the substance. You crave a part of yourself that you've lost. And until you understand this, no amount of willpower will ever set you free. Carl Jung understood this. He believed that addiction is not a failure of self-control, but a failure of the soul to find meaning. A spiritual crisis disguised as a chemical dependency. It's not about the drug, the drink, or the distraction. It's about the empty space you're trying to fill, the fractured self you're trying to silence. But here's the brutal truth. No addict heals unless they find a spiritual experience. Not a doctrine, not a set of rules, but a direct confrontation with their own shadow. The part of them they've buried in shame, guilt, and fear. The part that whispers in the silence, that haunts them in the dark, that calls out for something they've forgotten, themselves. So, before you try to escape this video, understand this. The real battle isn't against the substance. It's against the shadows you refuse to face. Because the only way out isn't up or forward, it's inward. If you're ready to confront your own shadows and uncover the deeper truth, hit the like button to support this message and subscribe for more insights into the hidden forces shaping your mind. The real cause of addiction, beyond the substance. Addiction is not about the substance. It never was. It's a mistake to think that the bottle, the pill, or the needle is the real enemy. These are just the symptoms, the outward expressions of a much deeper wound. Jung understood this. He believed that addiction is not a failure of self-control, but a failure of the soul to find meaning. It's a silent cry for something that goes far beyond chemical dependency. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself why the substance has such a hold over you? Why it pulls you in when you're at your weakest? It's not just a habit. It's a ritual, a desperate attempt to fill the emptiness, to escape the silence, to drown out the whispers of a fractured mind. Because the truth is, you're not just fighting an addiction, you're fighting a part of yourself. At its core, addiction is a spiritual crisis. It's a desperate attempt to fill an emptiness that no amount of substance can satisfy. Jung believed that behind every addict, there's an untold story, an existential fracture between who they are and who they long to be. It's a split that runs deep into the unconscious, a crack in the very foundation of the self. This is why addicts often speak of a void, a nameless hunger, a restless longing for something they can't quite define. They're not just trying to escape reality, they're trying to escape themselves. And this is the real tragedy. The substance is just a mask, a distraction from the real battle that needs to be fought. It's a stand-in for the self you've abandoned, the center you've lost, the soul you've forgotten. Until this deeper hunger is understood and confronted, no amount of willpower will ever break the cycle. Because the substance isn't the real problem, it's the symptom. The real problem is the part of you that you've tried to bury, the shadow you refuse to face, the truth you've tried to ignore. The shadow of the addict, what you're really trying to escape. Addiction isn't just a craving for a substance. It's a war against yourself. It's a battle between the parts of your mind you try to hide and the parts you desperately cling to. Carl Jung called this the shadow, the darker, repressed aspects of your personality that you refuse to confront, the parts of yourself you bury in shame, fear, and denial. But here's the brutal truth. The shadow never goes away. It only gets stronger the more you ignore it. It becomes a silent force, shaping your thoughts, controlling your actions, and pushing you towards self-destruction. The addict doesn't drink, inject, or gamble just for the rush or the numbness. They do it because they're running from a part of themselves that terrifies them. They are trying to silence the whispers of a fractured soul, to escape the reflection of a self they've tried to bury. But what happens when you stop running? What happens when you turn to face the darkness? When you confront the shadows you've tried to deny? This is the moment that separates the addict from the free man, the prisoner from the warrior, the lost from the found. It's the moment you stop being a victim of your own mind and start becoming the master of it. Every addict is a shadow. It's the sum of everything they've rejected, everything they've denied, everything they've pretended wasn't there. It's the rage they've suppressed, the shame they've hidden, the pain they've numbed. But just because you try to silence it doesn't mean it goes away. It waits. It festers. It grows stronger in the dark. This is why addiction is so powerful. It's not just a habit. It's a ritual of denial, It's a desperate attempt to silence the shadow, to drown out the voices that threaten to reveal the truth of who you really are. But the shadow won't be ignored. It demands to be seen, to be heard, to be integrated. And the more you run from it, the more it takes control. This is the paradox of addiction. The harder you try to escape your shadow, the more power it has over you. The more you repress, the more it surfaces in destructive ways. It shows up in impulsive decisions, in self-sabotage, in moments of weakness when you thought you had control. It turns your own mind against you, creating a cycle of pain and escape that only deepens with time. Jung understood that the only way to break this cycle is to confront the shadow directly, to face the parts of yourself you've tried to hide. Because the only way to escape the darkness is to walk into it, not to be consumed by it, but to understand it, to reclaim the parts of yourself that you've tried to reject. Only then can you begin to heal. Only then can you truly break free. The cycle of pain. Why addiction always comes back stronger. Addiction is a vicious cycle, a downward spiral that feeds on itself. It's not just about physical cravings or psychological dependence. It's about the deep, internal wounds that never heal. The parts of you that you refuse to confront. The shadows that you keep pushing into the darkness, hoping they'll disappear on their own. But they never do. Carl Jung understood this better than most. He saw addiction as a symptom, not the disease itself. A symbol of a much deeper conflict within the psyche. It's a sign that the soul is starving, disconnected from its true self, desperate for meaning. And the more you try to fill that void with substances or distractions, the more it demands. It's a hunger that grows stronger the more you try to ignore it. This is why addiction always comes back, often with more intensity. It's not just the substance you're trying to escape, it's yourself. The part of you that feels broken, abandoned, disconnected. The part that whispers in the silence, that stays in the darkness, that demands to be acknowledged. And every time you try to drown it out, you feed it more power. The cycle begins innocently enough. A drink to numb the pain, a pill to quiet the thoughts, a needle to silence the fear. It works, for a moment. It soothes the restless mind, calms the aching soul. But the relief is temporary. The darkness returns, stronger this time, more demanding. The void grows deeper, the shadows darker. And the more you try to escape, the tighter the trap becomes. This is the tragedy of addiction. The more you try to silence the pain, the more it controls you. The more you try to avoid the darkness, the more it consumes you. It becomes a self-reinforcing loop, a pattern that digs deeper into your mind with every repetition. And the more you struggle to break free, the more the chains tighten around your soul. Jung believed that the only way to break this cycle is to face the darkness directly, to confront the shadow, not to deny it. To stop running from the parts of yourself you've tried to bury, because the shadows you refuse to see are the ones that control you the most. And the only way to truly escape is to walk into the darkness, to face the ghosts you've been running from, to reclaim the pieces of yourself that you've tried to abandon. Spiritual starvation, the forgotten path to healing. Addiction is not just a chemical dependency. It's not just a psychological trap. It's a spiritual crisis. A silent scream from the depths of the soul, calling out for something it can't find in the physical world. Carl Jung understood this better than most. He believed that addiction is a desperate search for meaning, a failed attempt to reconnect with a lost center, a fractured self. At its core, addiction is a hunger for the sacred, a longing for something greater than the self. It's the echo of a soul that has lost its way, a desperate attempt to fill a void that no amount of substance can satisfy. The addict doesn't just crave the drug, the drink, or the distraction. They crave connection. They crave wholeness. They crave a spiritual experience that can make them feel truly alive. But in a world that has stripped life of its mystery, that has disconnected the soul from the sacred, that hunger turns dark. It becomes an obsession, a compulsion, a need that can never be fully satisfied. The addict is not just trying to escape pain. They are trying to escape emptiness. They are trying to touch something real, something meaningful, something sacred. But they've forgotten how. This is why addiction is so powerful. It's not just about the high or the numbness. It's about the desperate search for a lost self, a forgotten sense of purpose. The addict is not just trying to silence their pain. They are trying to find their soul. And this is why recovery is so difficult. It's not just about quitting a substance. It's about rediscovering the center you lost. It's about reconnecting with the self you buried long ago. Jung believed that no addict truly heals unless they find a spiritual experience. Not a set of rules, not a belief system, but a direct encounter with the depths of their own mind. A confrontation with the shadows they've tried to deny. A journey into the darkness they've tried to escape. Because the only way to fill that void is to walk into it, to face the parts of yourself you've tried to forget, to reclaim the pieces of your soul that you've abandoned. This is why ancient cultures used psychoactive substances not to escape reality, but to enter it more deeply, to confront the self without illusion, to touch the divine, to find the truth behind the mask. But in a world that has lost its connection to the sacred, those same substances have become paths to self-destruction. They no longer lead to enlightenment, they lead to fragmentation. They no longer open the mind, they break it. And this is the tragedy of the modern addict. They are starving for meaning in a world that has forgotten the soul. They are searching for something they can never find in the physical world, a sense of purpose that no substance can provide. Until this spiritual hunger is understood, until the deeper wounds are confronted, the cycle will continue. The shadows will grow darker, the void will grow deeper, and the addict will remain a prisoner of their own fractured soul. Breaking the illusion, why the real battle is within. The addict's struggle isn't against the substance. It never was. It's a battle against the self, a war within the mind, a fight against the shadows that live in the depths of the unconscious. This is the brutal truth that most people refuse to see. The real chains of addiction are not physical. They are psychological, emotional, spiritual. Carl Jung believed that every addiction is a failed attempt at transformation. It's not just about escaping pain, but about escaping the parts of yourself you've tried to reject. The addict isn't just running from reality. They're running from themselves. They're trying to silence the voices in their head, to drown out the whispers of a fractured mind, to forget the parts of themselves they've tried to bury. But the more they run, the stronger those shadows become. Addiction is the ultimate illusion. It creates a false sense of control, a temporary escape from the chaos within. But the relief never lasts. The darkness always returns, stronger, more demanding, because the substance isn't the problem. The substance is just a mask, a distraction, a way to avoid the real battle. The real battle is within. Jung understood this. He believed that the only way to break free from addiction is to face the shadows directly, to confront the parts of yourself you've tried to deny. Because the shadows you refuse to see are the ones that control you the most. The parts of yourself you repress, the fears you refuse to confront, the pain you try to silence. These are the true roots of addiction. And until you face them, you will remain a prisoner of your own mind. This is why recovery is so difficult. It's not just about quitting a substance. It's about confronting the darkness within, facing the ghosts you've been running from, reclaiming the parts of yourself you've tried to abandon. It's about breaking the illusion, shattering the false self, confronting the truth of who you really are. Jung believed that the only way to heal is to integrate the shadow, to reclaim the parts of yourself you've tried to forget. Because the only way to escape the darkness is to walk into it, to confront the demons you've tried to deny, to face the ghosts you've tried to ignore. It's not an easy path. It's not a quick fix. But it's the only way to break the cycle, to shatter the illusion, to reclaim your soul. The journey inward, from addiction to individuation. Addiction is a scream from the depths of the mind, a desperate attempt to break free from a false self, to reconnect with a lost center. But true recovery isn't just about giving up a substance. It's about reclaiming the parts of yourself you've tried to abandon. It's about finding meaning in the chaos, rediscovering the self you buried long ago. Carl Jung understood this better than most. He believed that the real path to healing is not about willpower, but about transformation. Not about resisting the shadows, but about integrating them. Because the parts of yourself you reject are the ones that control you the most. The fears you deny, the shame you bury, the pain you suppress. These are the forces that shape your behavior, the unseen currents that drive your addiction. Jung called this process individuation, the journey of becoming whole, of integrating the fragmented parts of the self, of confronting the shadows you've tried to ignore. It's the ultimate act of courage, the final battle against the false self, the only true path to freedom. This is why so many addicts struggle to break free. They try to change their behavior without changing their identity. They try to quit the substance without confronting the darkness within. They try to silence the pain without understanding its source. But the shadows don't dissipate. They wait. They grow. They take control when you're at your weakest, when your defenses are down, when you're alone in the dark. The addict's journey is a journey inward. It's a descent into the depths of the mind, a confrontation with the parts of yourself you've tried to forget, a reclaiming of the self you abandoned. It's not about escaping the darkness. It's about facing it. It's about understanding the symbols your mind uses to communicate, the messages your soul sends through the chaos, the lessons your pain is trying to teach you. Jung believed that the only way to truly heal is to become whole, to integrate the fractured parts of the self, to reclaim the shadows you've tried to bury. This is not an easy path. It's not a quick fix. It's a journey into the unknown, a descent into the depths, a confrontation with the parts of yourself you fear the most. But it's the only path to true freedom, the only way to escape the cycle of addiction, the only way to reclaim your soul. The weight of the past, why your old wounds keep you chained. Addiction isn't just about escaping the present. It's about running from the past, the pain you've buried, the memories you've tried to forget, the shame you've tried to silence. It's the shadow of every unhealed wound, every suppressed trauma, every unresolved conflict. It's the weight of everything you've tried to leave behind but never really escaped. Carl Jung believed that the past is never truly forgotten. It lives in the shadows, buried deep in the unconscious, shaping your thoughts, controlling your actions, whispering to you in the dark. The addict isn't just numbing themselves to the present. They are trying to numb the ghosts of their past. They are trying to silence the voices that tell them they are not enough, that they are broken, that they'll never be whole. But the past never stays buried. The more you try to ignore it, the more it controls you. The more you try to forget, the more it haunts you. It seeps into your thoughts. It infects your relationships. It sabotages your progress. It becomes the unseen force that drives your addiction, the invisible weight that keeps you chained. This is why recovery is so difficult. It's not just about quitting a substance. It's about facing the past, confronting the shadows, reclaiming the parts of yourself you've tried to abandon. It's about breaking the cycle of shame, guilt, and denial, about finding the courage to face the wounds you've tried to forget. Jung understood that true healing isn't about escaping the past. It's about integrating it. It's about reclaiming the parts of yourself you've tried to reject, about embracing the pain you've tried to deny, about finding meaning in the suffering you've tried to avoid. Because the only way to break free from the past is to confront it, to face the shadows, to reclaim the parts of yourself you've tried to abandon. Reclaiming the lost self, the real meaning of recovery. Addiction isn't just a physical dependency. It's not just a psychological trap. It's a spiritual crisis, a failure of the soul to find meaning, a desperate attempt to reconnect with a lost self. Jung understood this better than most. He believed that true recovery isn't just about quitting a substance. It's about rediscovering the self you buried long ago. At its core, addiction is a search for meaning, a longing for connection, a hunger for wholeness. It's a silent scream from the depths of the soul, a desperate attempt to fill a void that no amount of substance can satisfy. The addict isn't just trying to escape pain. They are trying to escape emptiness. They are trying to touch something real, something meaningful, something sacred. But they've forgotten how. Jung believed that the only way to truly recover is to confront the shadows, to face the parts of yourself you've tried to deny, to reclaim the pieces of your soul you've tried to abandon. It's not about resisting the darkness. It's about integrating it. It's about finding the gold in the shadow, the meaning in the chaos, the self in the suffering. This is the real meaning of recovery. It's not just about quitting a substance. It's about reclaiming your soul, rediscovering your purpose, reconnecting with the self you lost. It's about finding the courage to face the darkness within, to confront the ghosts you've been running from, to reclaim the parts of yourself you've tried to abandon. Because the only way to truly escape addiction is to walk into the darkness, to confront the shadows, to reclaim the self you buried long ago. It's not an easy path. It's not a quick fix. But it's the only way to truly break free. The Addict's Awakening. Addiction is not just a struggle against a substance. It's a struggle against the self. It's a desperate attempt to escape the shadows, to silence the voices, to drown out the whispers of a fractured mind. But the real battle is not against the drug, the drink, or the distraction. It's against the parts of yourself you've tried to bury, the parts you've tried to forget, the parts you've tried to reject. Carl Jung understood this better than most. He believed that the only way to truly heal is to confront the shadows, to reclaim the self, to integrate the parts of yourself you've tried to abandon. It's about finding the courage to walk into the darkness, to face the ghosts you've been running from, to reclaim the pieces of your soul you've tried to deny. Because the only way out of the darkness is through it. The only way to escape the cycle of addiction is to confront the shadows, to face the parts of yourself you've tried to forget, to reclaim the self you buried long ago. It's not about resisting the darkness. It's about understanding it. It's about finding the meaning in the chaos, the self in the suffering, the light in the shadows. This is the addict's awakening. It's the moment they stop running, the moment they turn to face the darkness, the moment they reclaim the self they lost. It's not an easy path. It's not a quick fix. But it's the only way to truly break free. If this video made you reflect, hit the like button to support this message and subscribe for more insights into the hidden forces shaping your mind. And remember, the only way to truly break free is to walk into the darkness, to confront the shadows, to reclaim the self you lost.